Hello and welcome to your favorite morning show. That includes news and everything else, and Eesha and me overlapping each other at the beginning of the show. Good morning, how are you, Eesha?
I'm doing absolutely great, Muzzamil. It's wonderful to have you on set again with the sun shining in Islamabad, the birds chirping. We are welcomed by, I would say, a confusing autumn weather, right? So
It's
direly chilly, it's extremely chilly, and then in the morning it's bright and sunny, and we are enjoying our days. However, let's start up with what is happening.
A lot of traffic is on the road, right?
Right, Muzzamil, tell us about the traffic situation.
The traffic situation in Islamabad for everybody commuting from the expressway, the main expressway, in towards the blue area. I would suggest that you guys leave early, leave on time, because there are cricket matches taking place here in Islamabad. The roads are closed for better commuting of the players and the cricketers and for their safety. So you're going to face a little bit of traffic out there on the expressway.
We are, thank you so much, Muzzamil, for highlighting this towards our audience, because everyone is excited about cricket and the roads are closed. So make sure that you leave wherever you need to go, leave timely. So with that, we are going to get started with what our show entails, and it is going to start up with how Diwali is happening in Pakistan right now, and it is being celebrated globally. We actually have a message from our Honorable Prime Minister regarding Diwali, and that is, we will be talking about it, and that is, on the auspicious occasion of Diwali, I extend a heartfelt greetings to our Hindu community in Pakistan and around the world, as homes and hearts are illuminated with the light of Diwali. May this festival dispel darkness, foster harmony, and guide us all toward a future of peace, compassion, and shared prosperity. The spirit of Diwali that embodies light over darkness, good over evil, and hope over despair inspires our collective resolve to overcome the challenges. Let us work through to ensure that every citizen, regardless of faith or background, can live in peace and contribute in progress.
Well, when we talk about Diwali, do you know that Diwali is the festival of colors because of?
Because of? No, tell us, Muzzamil. I'm so curious to know.
Well, Diwali is the festival of colors because Diwali is celebrated to welcome life. It is celebrated to welcome in, as we say in the casual Gen Z language these days, vibes. And when we talk about vibes, it's all about living a life that is prosperous, healthy, and forward-looking. And that is why Diwali is celebrated with firecrackers and colors.
Oh my God, that speaks so much about tradition, and it's great to see our Honorable Prime Minister acknowledge how Diwali is an essential part of culture that is also celebrated in Pakistan and across the globe. And talking about the globe, Muzzamil, let's take a glimpse into what is actually happening across the globe, starting with Pakistan. This morning, we bring you news that gives hope to everyone and a reminder of the Pak Army's resilience. After weeks of border tensions and heartbreaking loss, Pakistan and Afghanistan have finally agreed on an immediate ceasefire following 13 hours of talks in Doha. Pakistan once again showed maturity, restraint, and a commitment to peace, even when provoked. With the support of brotherly nations as Qatar and Turkey, our leaders have ensured that diplomacy triumphs over destruction. But alongside this progress comes a painful truth, one that exposes how young Afghan boys are being misled, brainwashed, and used as tools of terror. We will be talking about how this ceasefire took place and what developments entailed.
Well, before we move on to the next highlight about the ceasefire, this is the second ceasefire in the very recent months, not even years, one on the border on each side of Pakistan right now. And talking about the other highlights, when we talk about Pakistan being triumphant, of course, economy comes to play. A lot to talk about today in today's episode about the economy, but a $1.2 billion tranche would be released. And we are looking forward towards business taking place inside of Pakistan. When we talk about businesses, especially the small and medium enterprises that are participating in pushing the economy northwards, when we are talking about small and medium enterprises that are right now more than 7 million registered small and medium enterprises here in Pakistan. We are talking about IMF helping Pakistan come out of this cycle and become self-sufficient, as Prime Minister of Pakistan and also our Economic Minister also said about Pakistan small and medium enterprises, that with the certain steps that we are taking and with the shake hands that we are making all across the globe when it comes to mining and minerals and IT, we are going to be looking towards a very prosperous future, millions of jobs being created.
Exactly, and we can see how passionate passionate he was about this whole session. During the 6-day visit to Washington, he actually attended 65 meetings. But speaking about how Pakistan keeps progressing, it is our honor to actually announce that this Sunday, SUPARCO, Space and Upper Atmosphere Research, our very own space energy, actually launched Pakistan's first ever hyperspectral satellite, HS-1, from China. This isn't just another satellite, it is a breakthrough achievement that puts Pakistan amongst the few countries with this kind of advanced space imaging technology. This hyperspectral vision allows us to view different colors, right? Not just red, green and blue like normal satellites, but we can view hundreds of different colors.
I am going to interrupt you here. First, hyperspectral, I believe there's, and the hyperspectral satellite that will be functional and that is right now in the upper atmosphere when Pakistan talks about Pakistan's step into the future. Do you know that this plan of connectivity connects us to the Internet of Things, and that is the next phase in the progress towards a future that is both tech-friendly and very auditable, and we will have more on it.
I did not know that at all. I just thought it was about imaging and, you know, getting to know more about erosion and the environment, but getting connected to the Internet of Things. It is such a big move. But, you know, we will be taking a short break and we will dive deep into all these interesting subjects. Catch us soon in just a few minutes. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome again after that short break. And as we were discussing Pakistan's steps forward towards a future that is both friendly and also for the maintenance of peace, Pakistan taking these steps that are absolutely necessary. Twice a war has been pushed onto us, one from either borders, and Pakistan has defended itself and its territorial integrity, also the interests of its people, very, very efficiently. And now, to talk more about this and the broader implications of what has transpired in the past few months, we are joined by Dr. JAMIL Khan, former ambassador, and he's also an expert on foreign policy and things regarding foreign policy. Assalamu alaikum, sir, and a very, very good morning. Thank you for taking your time out and welcome to Pakistan TV.
Wa alaikum assalam. Very good morning to you, sunny, shiny, bright, and a pleasant morning. And also, let me add my voice to your voice of extending my greetings to the Hindu community, our friends. And we wish them all the best and we wish them to enjoy the day.
Yeah, it's absolutely lovely to have you on the show today. And let's talk more about how Pakistan and Afghanistan agreed on a ceasefire after 13 hours of Doha talks. What were the biggest breakthroughs that were discussed during this ceasefire?
At first place, we never wanted that this situation should arise, that Pakistan had to show its military might. We have always been trying to have a restraint with our, particularly with Afghanistan, even while it came to India, which is our arch enemy. We tried to show our restraint until they crossed the international border and they attacked us. So coming back on Afghanistan, it's a positive sign. And the second, so to say, ceasefire after expiry of the 48-hour ceasefire initially, and with the mediation, of course, by our friends and a very sincere friends, both Qatar and Turkey. So now we are under that phase where we are respecting the ceasefire. But despite that, we are noticing some of the incidents which originate from Afghanistan, and we are addressing them. Our law enforcing agencies, our armed forces, they're addressing that problem. The second phase, which starts, that would in fact draw the framework for implementation part and for a very viable monitoring mechanism to tackle the terrorism in Afghanistan. But basically the root cause, unless the root cause is addressed, and root cause is embedded in the Doha agreement, and the Taliban had made a commitment, they had signed that agreement, and that was later on endorsed by the Security Council in March 21. So that has now become an international law, and Afghan Taliban are responsible. Whether they have the capability or not, that's a different thing. They have to share it with the world that they don't have that capacity or capability or the willingness to control that, because so many years have passed by, and that commitment which Afghan Taliban had given to the world in a way, because it was adopted by the Security Council in March 21, as I said. But Pakistan has been repeatedly reminding Afghan Taliban about this menace of terrorism originating from Afghanistan. And now another problem which has been added to it is India has augmented its foothold in Afghanistan, and they've started supporting these TTP. The Taliban should know that it's a double-edged weapon, but we also understand that TTP or TTA, they share the same ideology, they share the same the relations which was built during the fight against Soviet and against the Allied forces. So we understand that, but at the same time, as you also mentioned in your intro, that Pakistan and Pakistan Armed Forces and Pakistan institutions, they are under obligation. Pakistan forces have taken the oath to ensure the sovereignty and the territorial integrity of Pakistan. And that's why we had to rely on the United Nations Charter Article 2, Sub-Article 4, to really protect our integrity and the territorial integrity and the sovereignty of the country. We cannot afford to keep losing losses of our life. We just cannot afford that. The security and safety of the people are.
I apologize for interrupting you mid-conversation, but I have a very important question, and it has been spinning around my head for quite some time now. When we saw America go up against the terrorist infrastructure in Afghanistan, India stood with America. And that was a long war. That was a long, long war. We saw Russia invade Afghanistan. India stood with Russia. And despite having India on the opposite side when it comes to war and not supporting Afghanistan, Afghanistan is right now busy shaking hands with India. Does the Afghan diplomatic structure or the shaky government that they have inside of Afghanistan, does it have a mind of its own, or is it operated by every hand that decides to invest into their proxy warfare?
I think the timely gains which they might have thought, that's why they are now collaborating with Indians. And in that context, I also feel that the little space which they got, and that was created because of those fundamental points which we were just discussing about the terrorist activities. 60% terrorist activities increased post-21 once the Taliban had taken over Afghanistan. It was on the very second day that Taliban had taken, while they were releasing the prisoners from their main prison of Kabul. We requested them that we need about 800 of the TTP workers, TTP, the operators who have blood on their hand and who have been operating in Pakistan, but that was not given to us. We understand their handicaps, and at the same time, we expect that they should at least share it with us, that in what way they are not able to really control them. We understand that they have the same leader, the TTA and TTP, they have the same leader. We understand that they've been fighting shoulder to shoulder against the Soviet Union and the United States. But coming back to your point, that they have now started collaborating with India. India definitely has created that environment, and in fact, a little misunderstanding, or for that matter, the lack of control of Afghanistan for a variety of Afghan Taliban over the TTP for a variety of reasons, that has created space for India. India initially, even in the Ghani's time and the Karzai time of presidency, they had 16 consulates just across the border, these 2,600 kilometers border, and they were operating from there at that time also. We were able to tackle them at that time, and the the number of incidents were much lower. As I said, that post takeover of Taliban, it has now increased by about 60%. More than 3,000 lives were lost just as a result of these terrorist activities. So that is that to that extent we cooperated and we tolerated and we absorbed that shock. But this was now beyond us because it was impeding that we could not afford to really lose more lives. B, that it was impeding the investment and the commercial activities in Pakistan.
Dr. Jamil, you've highlighted and pinpointed all of those facts very, very accurately. And speaking more about this issue, during an interview with Al Jazeera, Defense Minister Khwaja Asif expressed his deep gratitude towards Qatar's Emir and to Turkey's president. They played a vital role in facilitating this comprehensive ceasefire agreement. So how integral is this brotherly bond that we have with these nations?
No, obviously, all these countries, they are sincere to us, and that's why the Minister of Defense and even our Foreign Minister and Deputy Prime Minister, he has given a statement that this is a positive sign and a step in the right direction, and he thanked our friends. Obviously, the mediators have really worked, and that's why it went on for about 13 hours to really ensure the ceasefire. But more important would be the Istanbul 25th October meeting, where the parameters, the framework would be drawn as to how to really implement that. And the monitoring mechanism is so important because Pakistan has been giving all, in past also, all the evidences and even the hideouts which TTP has in Afghanistan. Why Pakistan should go and take those targets and strike those targets even deep into Afghanistan? Because Pakistan has all those informations, and now we are sharing those information with our friends. We have already shared that information with some of our own, some of the countries who are friendly with us. We have shared, and we have also shared it with the United Nations monitoring team, all the details, and monitoring team has verified it on their own. Monitoring team is constituted by the Security Council, and then they submit their report to the Security Council, and Security Council deliberates on it. So now it's a record of the United Nations that how many terrorist groups are stationed there in Afghanistan, which again is the violation of the agreement which Taliban Afghan Taliban had. And also it's a violation of the Security Council Article 1373, in which the terrorism and terrorists had to be suppressed and had to be really pushed out of the territory. But nothing is happening. That's why these friends of ours,
You've spoken very accurately regarding these points as well, and I feel like our next question is going to revolve around something very deeply emotional, and that is
Eesha,
how.
Before you go on with that question, just one technical little detail. DG ISPR, General Ahmed Sharif Chaudhry, when he conducted his latest presser, he quoted a number, 14,353. That is a lot of intelligence-based operations when we talk about cross-border terrorism that was being conducted on the border side and also inside Pakistan, on the borders of Afghanistan and Pakistan and inside of Pakistan. So this ceasefire is in place, but this was because of the active exchange of bullets and bombs that was happening across the border and inside the border region. Also, there was something that he mentioned, that is the terror trade political nexus. When we talk about this ceasefire, are we going to see a decrease in the number that was mentioned, the 14,353 intelligence-based operations? Because technically, if those operations did take place, and they did so there were 14,353 reported Kharijites or Fitna al-Khawarij terrorists that were operating, and their dens were destroyed. Are we going to see a decrease in the terror trade political nexus, also in the number of operations as a result of the decrease in the number of terrorists that are going to be operating in this region?
And that's why this dialogue is going on. And that's why these efforts are being made, not only by those two countries which we just named, the mediators, Turkey and Qatar, but also behind the scene, China, Russia, Saudi Arabia, and many more countries. In fact, very recently, Taliban representation was there in Moscow once we had a Moscow format, and Central Asian countries, plus the countries which I just named, Russia, China, Pakistan, Iran, and the Central Asian countries. And Taliban there, they did not admit that they have at their soil these terrorist groups. So that denies of the fact, that's really, that was the main impediment, and that brought us to the stage where we lost our tolerance, and we could not. In fact, we could not afford to really keep tolerating it. And that's the reason, and the world, as a matter of fact, now and previously also we've been keeping the world aware. But now that we have a higher trajectory of our foreign policy, now that we have a higher profile than what we had before Marka-e-Haq, right? So now our the narrative is resonated. We understand that India, they are quite used to having a false propaganda and building their own narrative. These days, India, all their energy is going in that false narrative and propaganda in which the nationalist feelings are being invoked in Afghanistan. So the religion and national feeling are being invoked, and that could be detrimental for Pakistan. But Pakistan obviously should try a little more in countering that narrative, because that's neither. In fact, if we look at it in a broader spectrum, it's not even in the interest of the longer interest of India, because if India wants to go for the double-digit growth, then they have to really have their trade with the SCO countries, and that's only possible if Afghanistan is stabilized. Now, yesterday only, we have liberalized our border trade with Iran, Pakistan, Russia, and Afghanistan. So that is, again, while the ceasefire has just happened, we have shown this goodwill gesture of liberalizing our border trade system. So we are not leaving any stone unturned so far as the goodwill is concerned, and so far as moving to a positive trajectory of our relations, and which could be a win-win game for the people in this region. And Pakistan, your fundamental question, your basic question, that would it reduce? Yes, that's what is the efforts are being made. But it would only reduce if TTA, which is Tehrik-e-Taliban Afghanistan and Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, they are basically having the same mindset, they have the same ideology. So unless they really make up their mind that that is not to be done, it would keep Afghan Taliban at a...
JAMIL, thank you so much for sharing your words of wisdom with us, and you speak with true passion. And just sitting here, I feel like we gained a lot of knowledge and a lot of diplomatic insight regarding whatever you had to say, and so did our audiences. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we will be concluding this session. Before we go on a short break, Muzzamil, I think we really need to discuss what actually happened, that our military intelligence was able to gain insight and get a confession out of a young Taliban boy who was manipulated into fighting for the Taliban, right? And he confessed that he was manipulated and brainwashed, and what he realized was during the Azan that he's fighting Muslims, and we are Muslims too, they're Muslims too, and it was just exceptionally heartbreaking.
That is always how it is, been happening since ever. And we will continue on this. We have an interesting guest lined up for all of you all, and the topic continues. Also coming up, $1.2 billion tranche. We are going on a short break, and stay tuned.
welcome back to all the lovely people who stayed tuned. And speaking about Pakistan thriving and shining, we are engulfed in a wave of optimism. Pakistan is set to receive a 1.2 billion loan from the IMF by December 31st. And to speak more about this, our finance minister, Mohammed Aurangzeb, went to a 6-day visit to the Washington, D.C., and he attended 65 meetings with the IMF and World Bank sessions. It's an exceptional
That is
move,
a lot
right?
of back and forth.
We are, and it's great to see how Pakistan is gaining a lot of potential for its economy. He actually said that Pakistan is set to earn $2 billion from its copper exports, and we will see how this unfolds.
Which is the first project which is coming through, and the financial close is around the corner. We just had a meeting with the managing director of IFC. They're very keen because they are leading the syndication on Recodic. So we're just awaiting the U.S. government shutdown to be wrapped up, whenever it gets wrapped up, so that U.S. Exim can come in. It's not a very large ticket, but I think it's going to be very important in terms of signaling of U.S. Financial institution and capacity coming through in this deal. But first year of commercial operation, our estimates are that it's going to be about $2.8 billion of copper export, which is a 10% delta on our existing base. And this is just the start, because there are other mines and there are other concessions which should be coming through. And at a point in time, we should go, when the critical mass is there and the scale is there, to go into smelting and go into value addition. Now, this is not going to happen overnight, but in terms of where we are headed with this, I think it has huge amount of upside.
All right, so Eesha, when we talk about business and the money that's coming in, also a Pakistan-US trade deal that is to be signed, I think we should go deeper with Dr. NASIR Iqbal, who joins us. He is the head of PIDE Macro Policy Lab, the man that you should go to for such opinions and answers to your questions when it comes to the economy of your country. Assalamu alaikum, sir. A very happy, healthy, good morning and welcome to Pakistan TV.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much for joining us today. And let's speak more about how Pakistan is set to receive a $1.2 billion from the IMF by December 31st. What key reforms by the government under the leadership of Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif helped us reach this goal successfully?
If we look into the last 1 year, Pakistan made a lot of effort in terms of reforming the economy and also stabilizing the economy. The key issue that I am always asked about the stabilization of the economy, and the government put a lot of effort in terms of reducing unwanted expenditure, in terms of managing the overall debt burden, in terms of managing the interest rate, and also controlling the inflation. All these factors basically help us in terms of reducing our fiscal deficit as well as improving the external sector. So these are the very positive news that probably help us to sell to the IMF that we are on the right track, and probably look at the next projection. Though it's still below the average, but the IMF claim that the Pakistan's growth momentum is on the rising side, and they increase actually the next year's growth projection from 2.5 to 2.7. So this is a very like a positive signal for the economy as well as and the global community looking these changes in the country. And they believe that the government of Pakistan is working very hard to stabilize the economy and also put a lot of effort in terms of creating an ease for doing business, especially as you mentioned in your intro that the government is looking for a long-term investment, and for the investment, there are a lot of new initiatives taken by the government to facilitate external as well as the local investors. So this is a kind of mix. Look at the inflation. We have a like historically very low inflation. We have a very stable kind of interest rate, and also the other economic activities on the rising side.
All right,
Right.
you've pinpointed that very accurately. And speaking more about this, the Finance Minister Mohammad Aurangzeb said no IMF condition will be accepted if it goes against our national interest. How important was this statement by him to actually reaffirm Pakistani's public acclamation to restore the trust in the public policy that the government entails for us?
I think so. Look, though the last 2 months we are facing one of the massive flood destruction in the country, and probably this caused a lot of changes in the overall fiscal budget. And the assumption that we made in last July about the revenue collection as well as the expenditure side, there is a significant change in those sides. So the government very actively and very positively convinced IMF that look, we have to revisit these numbers because the flood was unexpected and it adversely affected our agriculture sector, and look at the contribution of agriculture sector around 20% to the GDP, as well as around more than 50% employment is created by the agriculture sector. So these are the background, the reason that make us to convince IMF that we have to protect our vulnerable community. We have to support our the rising the increasing poverty on our side. We have to address those issues. So that's why this is a very positive statement. And when the others indicator are on the right direction, without making effort, you can't say that we will not accept the conditionality of the IMF. Basically the government is doing a lot of positive things that help us to say to the IMF, look, there are areas where we are making a lot of progress, but due to this unforeseen reason, we have to make some kind of adjustment, and they accepted it. That's why there is a staff level agreement happened in the last week, and now they are hoping to have a board approval within a very next few days. Probably these are all positive news.
Dr. Nasir, now on a broader scale, when we look at the deal that is to be signed between Pakistan and the United States of America, and also the $1.2 billion tranche that we are discussing right now from the IMF, on the broader scale, for Pakistan's economic game, what does this mean?
I think the economic situation always moves on the signals, the whatever the perception of the people have about the economy. The economy always working in the plus minus, but these perception matters a lot. This is these are the two positive indication. One, that we are signing an agreement with the IMF and we are hoping to have a stabilized economy. This gives a signal to the rest of the world that the Pakistan economy is in a stabilization mode. Secondly, the trade. The US is one of the largest market for us, especially over the last 1 year when this Trump trade war started. So the other countries facing a lot of issues, but fortunately, Pakistan is one of the countries who have a kind of advantage due to the geopolitical situation in terms of getting some kind of benefit from these market. I wrote an op-ed on that. This is the right time to actually pull our horses to make a big impact based on the advantage that we have in the global trade market. So I always ask our exporter, our industrialist, this is the right time. If you able to cash to reap these market within the next few months, probably it will give you a long-term benefit because every country will settle down in the next few months with the US administration. And if we are the first mover, we have to be more vigilant. We have to maximize our benefits. So this is the right point for the revival of our economy, and we all have to work very hard to create export surplus. If we fail to do that, zero tariff.
All right. All right, Dr. Nasir, thank you so much for pinpointing all of those facts very, very accurately. And let's now speak about something very interesting, and that is that the Roosevelt Hotel is one of Pakistan's most valuable foreign assets. And in fact, around 7 international companies have shown interest in acquiring it. But what Pakistan has actually done is that it has said that it is going to opt for a joint venture model instead of just outright selling it. So how important is this move to actually regain the economic strength for Pakistan?
I think we have to protect all these kind of assets. Those are in the foreign countries, especially the example you are just mentioning is very critical for us. for two reasons. One, the joint venture always gives you an advantage to have a long-term benefit rather than the one-time money from the selling the assets. So always you need to create a stream of money in the future to protect your future as well. So joint venture is a good option. Secondly, it is also good for the country's own reputation that we have our own asset in the foreign countries to hold our visitor, as well as a kind of a gesture that we have a kind of investment in other countries as well. So probably this is the again time to make a very rational decision rather than going for emotional decision to sell it and to get a quick benefit. We have to look into the long-term benefit of any kind of project that we have on our table. So this could be a starter point, and this will also give a signal to the rest of the community, rest of the world that we can negotiate, we can make a good deal, we can run joint ventures. So these are all indicators that we have to show, because the ultimately what we have to do, we have to show the rest of world that we can deliver. We have a export surplus. We have a potential to negotiate. We have a potential to run entities in the other countries as well.
Right, Dr. Saab, thank you for joining us on Pakistan TV and giving us your candid insight into the matter when we are talking about imports and when we are talking about investor confidence that is taking place, also economic trajectory going upwards and northwards. And with this now, some exciting news that we had for you, an itch that I was wanting to scratch since we gave you the opening to today's episode. You know, something movie like that has happened. Nothing to be happy about. It's quite worrisome, because you all might be familiar with the Louvre. Now, when we talk about the Louvre, you think about jewels, you think about jewelry, you think about expensive things.
Luxury,
no? Luxury, right? And highly protected jewels with historical value also. You know, there's all sorts of importance that is attached. And in a 7-minute heist,
oh my God.
in a 7-minute heist at the Louvre, jewels were stolen.
Oh my gosh, Muzzamil, let's speak more about this. So, at the Louvre Museum in Paris has been closed after a robbery this morning. French media reports that 3 masked men broke into the museum and used a goods lift to access the Apollo Gallery. The thieves were said to have been carrying small chainsaws and escaped on a scooter with 9 items of jewelry. Police are investigating the matter. However, I think this speaks about how it's not just tourists that are unsafe in Paris, it is the museums as well. Do you know, Muzzamil, at a family trip, I was actually robbed in Paris.
Laugh. You were robbed in Paris?
Yes, when I was traveling with my family, while we were hopping trains, we were robbed. So I think it shows to say that, you know, everyone needs to be very, very cautious in Paris. It's a beautiful city. Do visit it. It's an exceptional croissant eating place. I have never had the same taste and flavor.
Can you imagine? It's hard for me to wrap my head around the idea that they escaped on a scooter. They escaped. Anyway, now when we talk about money and when we talk about wealth, it comes straight from business. When we look at historical wealth that has been created, these jewels were a part of business, and now they are not a part of business anymore, though, until they are found again. Canton Fair is taking place, 138th fair for import and export. We are talking about China that is taking over business worldwide. Pakistan in partnership with China, and the 138th Canton Fair is taking place in Guangzhou, China. You will see robots, you will see tech expos, and you will also see manufacturers and producers.
All right, you know, thank you so much for highlighting that, Muzzamil, and everyone is very excited to witness these fairs and experience them. And speaking about witnessing history and experiencing something delightful, that is the second cricket test match between Pakistan and South Africa will begin from today in Rawalpindi, which is why we can see the roads being closed up and a lot of traffic. Pakistan led the 2-match series with 1-0 in the first cricket test in Lahore, Pakistan, in which we outplayed South Africa by 93 runs. for the preparation of the match, Pakistan cricket team held an optional training session. Players will take part in batting, bowling and fielding drills. It's great to see how Pakistan is working really hard to gain another victory, and we wish them a lot of success. We do.
The last time I did a show with you that involved cricket, you were taking interest in cricket, and for the girls taking interest in cricket, ICC Women's update, and that is England beat India in their match. Also now, keeping this short and brief. Moving on towards Pakistan's technological prowess, we are talking about the hyperspectral satellite that has been launched into space. And soon we will have an online guest with us, and she happens to be an expert at SUPARCO. Now, when we talk about hyperspectral satellite, it is something that is connecting us to the Internet of Things, and that is the future that we want to walk towards, that is highly auditable, as well as the prediction power when we talk about calamities like earthquakes, we're talking about seasonal changes that are taking place, we are talking about climate change that is now a reality, the floods also. This satellite means a lot. Now, we are joined by AISHA RABBIA AHSAN. She is the GM at Satellite Planning in SUPARCO. Now, on that position, she happens to be the person who knows everything about everything satellite.
Exactly.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Pakistan TV.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much for joining us, Aisha. And first of all, congratulations to you and your whole team at SUPARCO. Please tell us what exactly, in simple terms, what exactly is a hyperspectral satellite and how is it different from a normal satellite?
First of all, I like to congratulate you and all Pakistan for having such a big achievement. As the name shows, the hyperspectral mean the spectral bands are in high numbers. It is in hundreds. What does it mean? That if you have a green color has many shades, light green, dark green, very light green. So it will divide the green spectrum into a number of bands, and each band will significant its own signature of the earth. You know, Pakistan, alhamdulillah, has a diverse land. It has glaciers, it has deserts, it has green areas, agriculture areas, it has sea. So to have a good condition of the soil and the sea and the glaciers, we need more detailed information, more narrow information. This hyperspectral satellite will provide us the narrow band information and also the information beneath the earth's surface. Like for minerals, it is very useful. So, you know, Pakistan has been facing climatological changes since last few years in the form of earthquake and floods. This satellite is going to helpful for timely information and time mitigation plans, evacuation plans. Also, it is very helpful for forestation and deforestation also. We have to monitor the areas where the deforestation rate is very high. So we need to identify those areas. In the case of agriculture, it is helpful for the food security. You know, if the disease is spreading, irrespective of this, that the farmers go to the fields and check which area has been affected by the satellite technology, the time span has been shortened, and you can identify which area is going to affect, which area has drought conditions, so that area can be cordoned off and can be treated timely.
All right, Aisha, thank you so much for highlighting all of those wonderful aspects of the satellite that we will get to witness and enjoy as citizens of Pakistan. And as you mentioned, that is going to help with deforestation, with glycol lake melting, and also with disaster management, agriculture planning. And it's very heartbreaking how Pakistan witnessed such a devastating loss with the floods that we just witnessed. But now this technology is going to help us pave a better path and become a more stronger and resilient nation in the face of climate change. And it's speaking of being more resilient, how is this technology going to help in CPEC, right? So is it going to help prevent disaster management over there as well?
Yes, yeah, disaster. What we actually require in the case of disaster is that we need time planning. So we should be informed well in time when the disaster is going to hit the relevant area. Even in the past flood conditions, the available resources we have in space, we have performed the analysis and have informed the relevant departments before well in time. And now the capability has been enhanced by hundred times. So we can see which area is going to affect at which time, at which date. So we can evacuate the people from their area and we can provide the relevant rescue operations over there. This is the optimization of resources. Resource utilization optimization can be materialized through these technological advancement in space.
Right, Dr. Syeda, now you have given us a lot of detail about the hyperspectral aspect of it and how this satellite, this piece of technology will benefit Pakistan. Now, we just have a minute and a half to wind this up because there are headlines coming up. Really quickly, when you talk about satellite and technology, you have been in this field since a really long time and in the path of your career. How would you describe the past 2.5 years when we talk about technological movement forward into the future when compared to the previous tenure of your career? How fast is Pakistan progressing?
Pakistan, alhamdulillah, has taken very fast steps during past few years. In 2018, we launched 2 satellites, and in this start of the year, we are achieving third satellite. In every quarter, we have a satellite. So it is very fast, alhamdulillah. Pakistan, with the help of international collaboration, as you have mentioned earlier with China, we are progressing very exponentially. And you are right, in the past, as compared to the past decades, the exponential rate of the progress is very high. Pakistan is also sending, Pakistan has sent a Mars rover. That was the technological IQBAL. That was in last year. And in the upcoming 2-3 years, we are also sending a moon rover.
Right. Right. So Pakistan is making exponential strides towards the future, as you mentioned. Now, we have launched 3 satellites just this year. Thank you, Dr. Aisha, for providing your insight into all of this advancement and news. And with this, we come to end and conclusion for today's episode. The wonderful Eesha, Rehan.
And the most energetic Muzzamil Ali Khan. Thank you so much for being here. It was wonderful to have all these segments and to see a woman leading the satellite program. And we are going to catch you tomorrow live at 10 a.m. Make sure to stay tuned.
Good morning.